Hey everybody, this is Alex Milstein. I'm the editor-in-chief of Betting News Now, and this is Bet Ed Now, a video series focusing on bite-sized bits of betting industry knowledge. My guest today is Steve Houk, owner of Boise Mattress. Hi Steve, how's it going?
Oh, doing well. Good morning, Alex.
Yeah, good to see you. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be talking about the mattress industry Facebook group, which was started by Steve and three other very generous gentlemen who have come together to help the industry really learn a lot in a secure space. They also have a mattress retailers group that's just for retailers, but then they have one that is for the industry in general. There are manufacturers in there, sales reps, retailers. Steve, tell me a little bit about the growth of the group, which I think has been tremendous over the last year, and how it has become a resource for some of the retailers and others in the industry.
Four of us started it now. It's been over 3 years ago. Still a great resource to stay up on industry news and connect with other people and really understand the plight that other either reps or store owners are going through or manufacturers. We all learn that in business. We all start with maybe a one store operation and it's you and your everything, right? And then you reach a point where, you have employees and now you're removed from the business a little bit. So, I mean, it kind of feels like that journey has begun. The bigger we get, the farther removed people are, but it's still, I mean, it's still a great resource, and it's why we're going to host, I can't even remember how many mattress industry network meetups I've hosted in Las Vegas now, but we're going to host again. It's always the Monday of market, summer
Yep.
market, winter market, rain, sleet, or snow. We're better than the USPS. It's free. You don't have to pay. So just show up at the Circa, hang out with us at Victory Burger and Wing Company, put down some wings, have a beer, hang out with industry people, right? I mean, get a
Yeah.
chance to put a face to and a person to everybody that we interact with on a daily basis. So it's been cool. That part where I always look forward to that's the most personable part of the group. I've met so
Mhm.
many people through the meetups and,
Yeah.
you know, get to hang out with the likes of Alex.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely. I've been to two of them so far, but the first one that I went to at the beginning of this year was such a great networking experience. I met countless people who connected me to countless more. And I mean, the group you said has 2,500.
We're, I think, 2,300 people. So,
Yeah,
I mean, by Common Core math, yeah, that's 2,500 at least.
I think, it's a great resource, especially as one who has used it as such, to reach out to people who want to help you, want to, talk to you. They're kind of on your team. It's kind of cool when you can ask a question in that group and people, respond. But I think it's valuable that you've created this other retailer group, which I'm not a part of course, because I'm not a retailer. I'm sure that there's a little more trust in that group.
At one point, I just saw an opportunity to open the other group because it became, there can be some back and forth. Not everybody's happy all the time with every vendor. And I really hated for it to seem like we were vendor bashing or somebody was vendor bashing in the main group because that's not really the point. I mean, the point was always to help move the industry forward, right? Also connect people that wouldn't be connected. We have far more power today as a retailer and being part of our group than you'd have on your own, 5 years ago, right? I mean, you literally felt like you were on an island 5 years ago. And today I can reach out to anybody in the country and it's really cool. But yeah, to avoid the vendor bashing type thing, we had to open the store owners group,
Mhm.
and it's where store owners can, I mean, really, I mean, it's tough to say that like you don't know the plight of the store owner. They always say like the loneliest spot is being the entrepreneur because there's a lot of things that go into being an entrepreneur that don't go into being, or even, being a store owner versus being a rep, right? Even though our rep is an entrepreneur because a lot of them are independent, but they don't have employees. They don't have, they don't have the same experiences. And so it is cool. We have about 500 stores or store owners, which represents, I think I did the math one time, we're well over 3,000 like actual retail stores represented in that group. So it's pretty big. And yeah, I mean, it's also a great opportunity to really share what works, what doesn't work, and not necessarily have rep input or brand input. So I think we can be more personable again with the store owner group. It's unique.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like I said, I think that's a great resource for people to be a little more authentic, a little more trusting and sympathetic, I guess, with some other,
And
retailers
we I
through.
mean, we really try to hold it true. I mean, I'm a huge believer in snitches get stitches, right? If somebody's caught being a little snitch in our group and runs back to their vendor trying to be a superhero, I don't get the point of why you would tell what somebody else says from a vendor perspective, like why you would run to the vendor. Like, let's not get things twisted. Most vendors are not the retailer's friend. And I mean, in the realm of like they need us, but they're like customers, right? They're necessary evils. I mean, if we could all make money and not deal with customers, I'm sure most of us would. So it gets interesting when we see other store owners run off and think that they're going to get some type of benefit by being a tattletale. Like literally, they didn't get beat up in the playground enough when they were growing up. And so we kind of have a zero tolerance for that crap because you can't be real if you have to worry about somebody tattling all the time.
Yeah, that's true. And it kind of, that's not the point of the group, really.
You're
Our
trying to
point
get advice on how to handle the situation, right? I mean, at the same time, we've had vendors use the group to cut off retailers. And you're like, what? Like, because they made a comment about your product? Like, this is a great opportunity, where I give Bob Munkle probably the most credit because during COVID, I mean, Resident was getting abused, right? I mean, they were really taking it on the chin. And Bob Munkle, he stood up and like recognized that there were issues with Resident at the time, right? I mean, mostly, I mean, there were issues with everybody at the time. It wasn't like, but he was the one that said, hey, like, we're doing our best. Like, he worked through it with dealers. He didn't run from the confrontation. He didn't run from the criticism. And then that's one cool thing about the group is it's a great opportunity to display how you would handle a conflict, right?
yes.
For me, if I find a vendor's cutting people off because of a negative comment in the group, they're off my floor. If I have them, they're off my floor. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, I think there are better ways to use the criticism. If somebody on that group says, so and so vendor did this, I don't really like that. Has anybody else had this problem? That's an opportunity for that vendor to step in and say, hey, let me help you fix this. And so
absolutely. It's a great opportunity I mean, sometimes, I mean, well, almost always, every issue comes down to a lack of communication, right? In our industry, everyone comes down to a lack of communication. The rep's not communicating with the retailer, the manufacturer is not communicating with the rep, so the rep can't communicate with the retailer. I mean, there's a lot. So like if somebody's pissed off, they're really pissed off for a reason. And most of it is because they haven't been communicated with properly, right? They don't feel like they're being listened to. Just like a customer comes into your store or my store. If the customer is upset, normally there's an issue that needs to be solved. Like me telling the customer to get the hell out doesn't solve the issue, right? And it's not going to give me good reviews down the road. Why are they going to come recommend me if I told them to get the hell out of my store just because they had a problem? And I think, that is one of the benefits of our group is now, look, I mean, vendors are held a little bit more accountable, right? You can't just run around willy-nilly treating people like garbage.
yeah,
And if you do, hey, we'll put you on blast. I really don't care about your feelings. If you're wrong, you're wrong, right? And then how you handle it from there is up to you. But canceling, this is a hot topic for me. As you can see, it has happened, Alex. It has happened, which is the part that really pisses me off, is because you think you have a good relationship with a vendor or something, and then I get a phone call. Hey, they cut me off for a comment I made in the group. Oh, perfect. Then I have to call them and have a conversation that I never wanted to have that conversation.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I got one vendor I kicked off my floor. I hope that's the last one.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I think that shows the power of relationships too, that you're willing to kick somebody off your floor because they are clearly not, a good partner. They're not valuing the relationship.
And it really is the joy of being a small business guy too, is like there's always going to be somebody that's going to sell me in my market, right there. I can find somebody to sell me. But small business owners really have an opportunity to carry out their principles in the market, right? So like if you really do value trust and integrity and all these things, like make sure your vendors value those things too. And if they don't, they're the wrong partner for you. So we need to start holding vendors accountable to that too. Like TSI, you can do it through being a shareholder. There's some public companies that you can hold accountable because you own a portion of their company if you own their stuff. It's the number one reason why I'm a TSI shareholder, right? It's because, hey, in the event that they buy Mattress Firm, which looks like we'll clear this year or this coming year,
Mhm.
in that event, and they decide that they don't want to sell me anymore, hey, I'm still going to get rich off their stock, right? Like, because they're going to be the monopoly. Or I have an opportunity to go to a shareholders meeting and try and change things from a shareholder perspective. You can't do that with some of these privately held companies. And the only way you can influence change is by dropping them. You'll find the customers. The customers will come if you got integrity and you're doing business right. You'll get customers. You don't need to deal with a brand that's going to treat you like garbage.
And good advice. All right. Well, anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
If you have a friend and they're in the industry and they're not in our group, I do believe that they're missing out, right? They're missing out on some great opportunities
Mhm.
um, to join the conversation, shape our industry going forward. Things are going to change. 2024 it comes in with mixed reviews because there's these internal optimists out there that just think 2024 is going to be a great year. And I mean, I've lived through enough election years in this business to know that you better be ready for some rough stuff, not some like it's not sunshine and roses the road ahead. I mean, I don't know anybody today that has more traffic than they had 5 years ago, right? If they were open, I mean, the traffic isn't there. So capitalize on the ticket and do things that nobody else is doing, and don't do it as a reactionary, do it proactively, because if you wait until you're hurting, like I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody because I also rep for 3Z brands. I said, look, like for me to bring in a brand for you, say I bring in Helix, like that's a 6 to 8 week method for it to make a difference in your business. Don't call me when you only have 6 weeks left in business and expect things to change overnight, because I can't help you for 6 to 8 weeks for it to make an impact. And even at that, like there's not one brand out there that's going to save your business. You have to proactively find ways to create market space for your business.
Yeah, that's a good message.
So join the group. See us in January at Las Vegas Market, Victory Burger and Wing Company in the Circa, the second floor by the big screens. There'll be beer, there'll be wings, there'll be burgers, there'll be Alex,
I'll be there.
and and I'll be there because I mean, I enjoy the hell out of it, right? I mean, it's a great opportunity to meet. You never know who's going to show up, right? I mean, that's the truth. Mr. Uncle Munkle, you want a free hour of counseling from Uncle Munkle? He gets hounded enough, but he'll be there, right? I hope. I mean, he has been in the last,
Mhm.
and I know he enjoys it. There's some real industry powerhouses that show up. I mean, John Merwin, of course, from 3Z Brands was there last time, which is very cool. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of people that stumble in. You don't know who you're talking to most of like this dude could have one store, he could have 30. You don't know. He could be a vice president at TSI. You don't know. He might be the guy that might make a difference in your business going forward. Like, guys from Bedhead Marketing, or, they've been there. I mean, there's just lots of cool people to meet. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you in January, Steve.
all right, take care,
All
Alex.
right, take it easy.